Good morning and welcome to Bajerski YouTube channel. Today's topic of conversation is one that is quite sensitive at the moment. A lot of people are feeling a little bit raw and a little bit anxious, all of those low vibrations, and the reason why is it's because of our awakening. The question was put to me, how do we cope with the awakening? What can I do to feel better in the awakening? And it's really an interesting conversation that we could go into for all day. We could actually talk about this for at least 2-day workshop talk. So to condense it down in such a short I don't know whether it's going to be 10 minutes, 50 minutes, I don't know. But I'm going to try and put all the points across while downstairs is taking wheels off cars. It's been so quiet this morning, and as soon as I put the video on and talk about a crucial subject, distractions. Or are they? So where do we begin with this? I can share many people's stories. I can share my own story, but we can go straight in with it and talk about the awakening. So what is the awakening? That's the first thing we need to ask. What does it mean? Am I awakened? Am I awakening? What does it mean? How do I know if I'm awakening? These are the first questions you would ask yourself. Awakening to me is a battle between the heart and mind. That's the awakening for me. Once you have a battle between your heart and mind, you're beginning to awaken. Most people you see live from day to day, eat, drink, sleep and work and do nothing other than think and be told and be programmed and to just behave themselves and to do what the narrative tells them what to do. When you start to have the battle between the heart and mind, it means that the heart or the spirit or your awakening begins by, hang on a minute, something's not right. And that's the beginning of the awakening. You start to feel different. Normally, like I'll give you for example, two people, one person here, one person here. One person sat down having a meal, enjoying the meal in a cafe, and the other person thinking about everything and what's going wrong and what's happening in the world. This person is oblivious to everything, not a clue what's going on apart from what he's putting down his mouth. And this person isn't really thinking about his food, thinking about everything else, what's going on. You know, thinking about what he's eating, why he's eating it, what's going on in his stomach, what's happening in his mind. All of it, this guy's oblivious, just eating away, just scumping down. Doesn't matter what's on the plate, he's just shoveling it down because he needs to put it in his mouth and then to get on with life. So you can have two people and complete different conversations. So that's the other thing. In the awakening, you start to realize that you're the furthest from communication with the mindset of mainstream thinking. You're furthest away from your family who are talking about things that are no longer important. You start to feel as if you're going inwards now. And this is where the dilemma comes. Because you're starting to listen to your heart, your soul, you can only go inwards with that. And that takes you into a place where solitude, deeper, meaningful conversation, deeper understanding, more clarity, and more questions, because this is a never-ending, beautiful place where everything can happen. Everything can happen. Whereas here, it's limited to only what you can see and what you've been told. So the brain is a sponge like a computer. It knows nothing other than input. Whereas your heart, there is a multitude of different thoughts, feelings, energies, as well as the communication to many other worlds that are feeding you all of this beautiful universal energy which is there to be taken at any given moment to give you revelations, give you new understandings, things that you could never possibly think about, because thinking is limited to what you've been told from your schooling, from people around you, and from your MSM news all day long. So that's a narrative. That's a narrative. This is abundance forever. Anything, ultimate. You can have anything from in here. You can take anything from in here, and it goes on and on. It's so deep, you know, it's unreal. So when you get out of here, because everybody else is here, and you go in here, which very few people go in here, it becomes almost like I am isolated from everybody else. Thus, the first thing that you must be aware of is that sometimes you have to step back from your family because they will limit you in their way of thinking, and that's it. So it will be very narrow-minded, it will be blinkered, not their fault because they're not awakened yet. So you've got to embrace that as a thank you. So I see people around me, and instead of getting angry at why they're not awake, I say thank you for the opportunity to be awake. Now, if you've become awoke, don't like that word, but if you're awakening, I think that says a lot about you. It says a lot about you, and that's beautiful. And I think within all of us, there is an opportunity of awakening in all of us. But when that opportunity comes, it's not for you or I to point the finger and say, you should awake. You should be awoke now. You should understand. And it's really easy to fall into that trap, especially when you've become awakened and you know things that nobody else knows. And now you want to tell them because you want to help them. That is a dangerous path to walk, and you will lose a lot of friends, you will lose family, and you will be called names, because the automatic reaction of somebody who thinks all the time is leave me alone, stop talking rubbish, you don't know what you're saying, you're going crazy, you're a nutcase. And that is basically what happens when you begin the awakening. So for me, I left everything behind and I started on a path very organically, learning about another world. And that other world is called magic. Well, to my family, most of my family thought I'd gone crazy. And that is the automatic response of your family, because they know nothing other than what you should be, who you should be. This is who you are. You can be nobody else. So you are limiting yourself when you're around family who just see you as that person. And it's great when you become awakened to the fact that everything is possible. You can change, your friends can change, your family can change, and it's great to watch that change and embrace it. So I became a healer to guide people to embrace their trueness and their uniqueness from within, and then to shine in their own unique way, and to help them and encourage them to do that. And that's a good mentor, that's a good guide. A bad guide, a bad mentor, a bad teacher, or a bad family member, or a mum or dad will hold you in one place, blinkered, and say, no, this is who you are, don't change. And that is very selfish, because the reason why they do that and say that is because they want you in their world to fit into their box, into their label. And that's programming. That's not their fault. It's programming. It's what they've been programmed to. They're in deep hypnosis. So it's very difficult for them to allow you to express yourself. It's difficult for them to even embrace a new idea or a new thought, or God forbid you decide to change. The best you're going to get is a new haircut or a new dress. That's it. Don't push it any further than that. God forbid if you start to tell them that you've got a new idea, a new thought, or a new feeling that you'd like to change your life and maybe move abroad or do something else. It's like, oh, don't do that. Well, why wouldn't I do that? If my daughter and son said, hey, Dad, I've got an idea, I want to move to wherever, Timbuktu, I'd say, go for it, enjoy it. Life's amazing, go on. Now, if I was selfish and I wanted them to be here to look after me and take care of me, and so I could speak to them every day and want to see my grandchildren every day, then I'd say, no, don't do that. Why are you going to do that? Don't do that. It's a terrible thing to do. I'll fall out with you. We'll never speak again. You see what I mean? So it's a selfish mentality. So this is the things at the beginning that you have to put up with. So what do? Do you put up with it, or do you accept people for where they are on their journey, which I did, and let them go with love? Don't do it with anger, or else you're just going to end up in a bad place, and then you're going to say this awakening's horrible. It's not horrible. It's just the way you are acting to the awakening. That's all. I don't like the awakening because I've lost my friends. No, you haven't lost your friends. They lost you. So were they friends and were they family anyway? So the question is, it's not up to you whether you want them to be loving and kind and understanding and to accept you. It's not. This has got nothing to do with the awakening. The awakening is the awakening. What happens thereafter is other people's reactions, and it should have no concern to you if you know the truth. And the truth is what I see, so I share that. So however anybody reacts, that's none of my business. I don't care what they say about me. It's none of my business. But I know my truth and I'm going to speak it. And this is who I am. And if you don't like it, then that's your issue, not mine. And vice versa with me. If somebody says something and I don't like it, then that's my issue and I've got to resolve that. So as of late, I don't get into battles or fights. I don't anyway. And if people are telling me, oh, I've had the injection and it's wonderful, and I don't fight with that. I don't say, you idiot. And I just say, that's great. I'm happy for you. But I'm off. Because that is not what I want to be around, and I don't want to be in that. I know I used to say, stop, I'm going to have to stop you right there. I don't speak brainwashed. I don't do that anymore. I just say, oh yeah, beautiful, see you later, take care, and I'm off. I've stopped pushing, I've stopped doing any of those things because it doesn't work. You speak your truth to people, it only gets them angry, so there's no point. I think the world awakens when it's meant to. I think singular soul awakens when it's meant to, if it's meant to, when it's meant to. It's not for you to say. You can certainly try and influence in a way of the same type of brainwashing media they do. So you put a radio station on that is playing the Richie Allen radio show where real people and real life situations are happening, and that singular lovely soul is sharing their experience. And somebody who sat down accidentally just overhears it and then thinks, oh, this is interesting. Whereas if you said to them, listen to this radio station, it's the truth, they wouldn't do it. So I learned to flow and just allow things. I don't even bother now. Don't waste my energy and time. I really don't. My life is too important to help those who are ready to awaken. I think that's a really bold statement, but it's true. I don't waste my time, and it's not that I don't love anybody, it's just that they're not ready. So, hey, respect that. Hey, I've got friends who think I'm crazy. I still love them. Doesn't mean they're right and wrong. In their world, they're right. And in my world, I know I'm right. So who is right and wrong? I am right for what I feel at this moment. Was I right 10 years ago? I think so. Was I right 20 years ago? No. But 20 years ago, did I think I was right? Yes, I did. So we should be open to all and never force and just say, this is my feeling, this is my experience. I can't explain to you in a way that you're going to believe, because you're going to believe what you're going to believe. So I would make conversation lighter. I wouldn't push anything, and only when asked am I going to share my truth if I feel it's relevant and if I feel it's not wasting my energy. So most of the time I don't speak. I'll speak here because I know the right people will be drawn here. And if somebody doesn't like what I'm saying, it's only going to get them angry, but maybe they're going to see this a lot more and think, okay, maybe this guy's crazy with his top on and his crystals. But then I saw another guy with a suit on, and another guy with a white top on, and who was a doctor, and maybe there is something in this. So there is a process between the awakening. There's a process of becoming a healer. There's a process of becoming in tune with yourself, and that process cannot be forced. I often say you can't feed Einstein to a child in a day, and I'm not being a negative or big-headed, but what I'm saying is it takes time to share valuable information for that information to be processed, to feel, because once it goes in here, you've got to feel it, okay? It's got to feel right. So you being on a path of awakening, you're gonna get this point where you're gonna be in conflict with people. You're gonna have fights, arguments. You're gonna feel lost. You're gonna feel lonely. You're gonna feel terrible. But you know what? I want to just share something which is so important that most people don't talk about. Maybe the awakening is for you to find your solace, your peace, your stillness, to find the best friend within you. So for me, I had a great opportunity, and I still do now, to find my inner peace, to be on my own. And that being on my own is a very, very clever manipulation by a system to tell you that you can't be on your own. Do you know why that is? I'll tell you why that is. Because the system wants you to become a partnership, to become a corporation, but that corporation then joined together with a partnership. Because when a partnership comes together, it brings in a solid foundation of a mortgage, children, and taxes and everything else that feeds the system. When you pull away from that and say, I don't want to be in that, I don't want a partner, I want to be on my own and live my life, and it's not such a brilliant thing for the system. Because when the system pulls you in so many ways. So if you ever decide to get a divorce, you're going to have to go to the system to ask for, please let me be free. And then you have to pay for that. So you see, it's manipulation. So when you pull away from all of these things, that the system is pure evil. It is pure evil. And when we share this with people, they don't understand, because they think, oh, we're free. Well, you're not free, mate. You've never been free. You're only free if you agree with the system. If you go against the system, then you'll know you're not free. So we realize that we share information on the awakening side of things, and people find it very, very challenging. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you're on your own personal journey now to find out who you are and to unlearn. And it really is a challenge to try and clear away the old patterns, and thus you become more aware of your faults. They're not faults, they're challenges, but you become more aware of your knee-jerk reactions, your brain telling you things all the time. So thus the battle of the heart and mind is the second most important thing to be aware of. It takes a lot of time to break down the walls, to get rid of the old habits. But these are the things that the battle between the heart and mind slowly shows you. So then you start to realize that the food you're eating is not food. And you start to then search for food which is genuine, which is organic, which is healthy. Organic means natural, by the way. It just means natural. Is that natural? Yeah, it's a fruit, but is it natural? Well, what do you mean? It's a fruit. Yeah, but is it got pesticides on? Is it been GMO'd? Is it Monsanto seeds? Or are they natural seeds, not being contaminated, and has no GMOs, no pesticides? I don't bloody know. Okay, so now I'm going to have to start to find out. So now all of a sudden, your life from being easy is becoming now a little bit more challenging. Why is that? Because you're starting to realize that if you want health, if you want a peace of mind, if you want a great life, and you want to be strong and great energy, you're going to have to work at it. This isn't an easy path. This means that now you're going to have to become stronger in so many ways. At one time you can just say, yeah, I'll have that burger, yeah, I'll have that fruit over there in the supermarket, it all looks perfect and nicely shaped and tastes like crap, tastes like nothing like a fruit should taste like. So you say no to that. So now you're going to get angry with yourself because you want things easy, because your brain says, I want it easy, I want things, why can't I get everything that I want? So here's the battle between the heart and mind. And actually when you change that around and say, you know what, I am special, now I'm starting to see what's important. Because your mind's saying you're crazy, your mind's saying what's wrong with you, you're becoming an idiot, you're becoming obsessed. No, you're not becoming obsessed. You're starting to listen to your spirit, and your spirit starts to love that, and then your spirit starts to speak to you and say, listen, we need good healthy food, we need fresh water, spring water, no contamination, and then you start to feed your body. And as the days, weeks, months progress, You start to become stronger in your mindset, in the way you see things. You start to say no to everything on the food, on the shelves in supermarkets. In fact, you don't even walk in there anymore because you know there's no food in there. And you start to then find a way to go to allotments to find fresh fruit and vegetables in organic stores. Yes, it costs a little bit more money, of course it does, but you're feeding your body what your body needs, because when you go to supermarkets, everything on them shelves don't feed your body. Your body said, what is this? And you say, well, it's a tomato. Well, it's not a tomato because it's been GMO'd. So it's no longer a tomato. So you think you're eating something that, when you cut it, you look at the chambers and see the heart chambers in there. So this must be good for my heart because it's a tomato. But actually, it's been tampered with. It's been Monsantoed. It's now a Frankenstein nothing. So when you eat it, your body says, I don't even understand what this is. And it's trying to take what it needs for the heart, but there's nothing there anymore because it's been modified. When you eat a natural seed which has not been contaminated and it grows into a tomato and you eat that, I'm telling you, you can feel it. Your body's saying thank you. I actually feel it. My body starts to shake sometimes and I feel this amazing feeling all over my body when I eat a tomato, and I can feel my heart getting stronger. So you start to realize that it is really important for your health and well-being that you eat correctly. The second thing is the third thing is the awakening is of your spiritual enlightenment now. What is it where this energy of the battle between your spirit, your soul, and everybody else, and your thoughts and everything that you were programmed to believe, your spirit now has to be the number one. Everything else you have to reject. Now that's difficult because if you're 20, 50 or 80 and you've learned all of that and you've been learning, you have to unlearn all of that and say all of that is no use anymore. Now I live in the energy of my soul, my spirit. I live in the universal energy which feeds me in a way of great information. It helps me flow in life without question. It helps me trust in everything. But then your brain and everybody else is doing the complete opposite. What time is it? I'm in a rush. I've got a deadline. Beep, gonna die. Quick, I've got to do this. And you're saying, actually, no. Yeah, you need a job. You need to do this. You need to do that. No, I don't. So your spirit is trying to help you be free to flow. And thus, you've got that energy where people will call you a bum, say you're an idiot, you're crazy, look at you're not normal anymore. And I all of these things are great for me. I say thank you. Thank God for that. Somebody's seeing me for who I am. I don't want to be like you guys, because you guys, honestly, look at the world, look at the madness, look at everything what's going wrong. No, thank you. You take all that. You take your pills, you take your injections, you be sick, you be ill, because I'm fine. I haven't been to the doctors for months, years. Look at me, healthy as anything. So you need to learn to small doses, arm's length with people who try to pull you back into that world. Then you walk on a path of starting to understand yourself and trying to make sense of everything that's happening in the awakening, your awakening. So your vibration raises. Obviously, you rise to a different level now, and that's called the awareness. Awareness is a beautiful thing because it helps you see beyond the beyond. Most people have no idea about what they're looking at, what they're seeing, and what they're talking about, only on one level or one fixation. That's it. That's all it is. It's a ball, nothing else. We're talking about this subject. That's all it is. Whereas when we start to become aware, we look at the ball and we see, well, it's not just round, but what about everything else around it? And what about the colours? What about this? What about that? So all of a sudden, your awareness expands to not just one singular thought, but you have 1,000 thoughts. And that's about everything that you're looking at, everything that you see. That in itself is a beautiful thing, but we need to learn to just relax a little bit and not get too stressed about it, because it's a bit like learning something new and all of a sudden you've got all of these things that, oh wow, everything's going on, and then eventually it becomes like driving a car. When you get into the car, I've got to look at my mirror, I've got to change the gear, I've got to put my foot down, I've got to stop it, I've got to worry. And then once you get into it and used to it, it becomes like second nature. So never be frightened about the awareness of the awakening awareness. Don't be frightened of it. Just go with it. And eventually what happens is you'll find in those moments when you've got all of this information coming at you that you'll become somewhat gifted in a certain way of seeing things and feeling things which is individual to you. So I can have my awakening next to a friend of mine and they can awaken differently and they can see things that I don't see, vice versa, which is beautiful. So we all have our uniqueness in the awakening. So don't ever put pressure on yourself and say, why am I not like you? That's garbage. You're not like you because you are you and nobody can be you. So what you do is trust in your flow. Trust is a big word in the awakening. You've got to trust in it and go with it and feel it. All the time you'll be questioning. That's what the awakening is, awareness. Like these people think we're tinfoil hat wearers, that we don't think. We just say one thing. Actually, we're thinking all the time. We're always looking at every different aspect and we come to the same conclusion that the system is evil, that we are controlled by psychopaths, and everything that is happening right now is about culling the world. And if nobody can see that, there's nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is something for yourself. So there's a reason why you become aware and awake. It's not always about jumping to the top of the mountain, ringing a bell, screaming at everybody saying wake up. It's about what can you do. And there are people in this world who are awakened, millions of them, and they're all doing their best to try and heal themselves, grow stronger and become wiser in all aspects of their life. So the awakening is not something that's easy. The awakening, when you step back and look at it and think, whoa, that's some work. And it is some work. And that's why I'm proud of people who actually are on a path of awakening. We never actually awake. That's the truth, because it's a never-ending journey. But we're not meant to. I mean, at what point do you say, okay, I'm awake now? I mean, that's bullshit. I mean, there's so much to learn, so much to feel, so much to understand, and it goes on and on and on. It's never ending. So every day is a different experience for me. Every day is a beautiful day. Every day is a challenging day. Every day is like a beautiful day. It's never, I call it the roller coaster of life. Everything goes up and down, sideways, flings you here, there, and then some days you just feel, you know what, I look back on my life after these 16 years and Jesus Christ. Sometimes days I think I wish I was blind, I never saw anything. Truly, sometimes I wish I didn't know any of these things. There are days that I feel like that, but that's because I'm only the person that I am to feel the way I am. Nothing wrong with that, but nearly every day I'm so glad I've learned so much and grown, because I could have been like a lot of my family who never moved forward, who were angry and bitter with life, jealous, and just unhappy, never been able to shake away illness, anger, addiction, and they're just in that cesspit. Whereas I feel as if I've grown, and it's taken time, and it's not easy, but I'm trying to break my the patterns of my father who was angry, and I'm trying to be the better person every day. I'm trying to enlighten myself with wisdom, trying to understand things and grow, because that's why we're here. We're not here to be bitter, angry, nasty, resentful, jealous. We're here to raise our vibration, and by doing that, we actually create a new life, a new world, and miracles happen. And when people say that could never happen, then it never does. But when you say it can happen, and when you believe in yourself that things can happen, and whatever happens is for my higher self, then you're opening doors that are so magical and invisible that it is incredible how your life can change instantly. And it can. You can create. People often talk about this awakening whereby you can create your life. You know, I'm not really into The Secret, but I do know that if you believe in yourself and you work on yourself and stop saying, I am Mark Bajerski, you're more than that. I am Jane, I am John, you're none of those things. They were labels to keep you where you are. You are far more than any name. You are ultimately amazing, miracle, powerful, and you can change your world at any given moment, which changes everybody else's world. So when we become awakened, we become an energy which is a higher vibration. So then you've got to find the balance of instead of hurting yourself because of all the challenges you're going through, You have to embrace them and say, these are for my higher self, and I am now about to enter a path of healing, because healing is definitely something that we need to at least mold together with the awakening, or else you can go crazy in your mind because of everything that's going on. So you need to find inner peace at the same time. Now, your heart will always, your spirit, you're who you are, not your body. Your body is not you. Your spirit is who you are. Your spirit says to you, you need to find, it's not just rest and sleep, but it's this place where you need to go to, where you need to be on your own and find that healing, that time, that space, whether it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whether it's an hour, it doesn't matter. It's not a competition. It's got nothing to do with, oh, I spent 2 weeks in a kibbutz in silence. It's all bullshit. It really is junk. You find your solace, your peace, your inner peace, your inner happiness, wherever you are, whatever you're doing at any given moment. So I put this music on and I just sit and meditate. I'll get some crystals and use crystals to help me feel better, or I'll go for a healing session, which is fantastic, or a massage, or treat myself in a way that I'm at peace. There's so many ways of doing it, but mostly I like to go into Mother Earth and sit by a tree, and you have no idea the power of a tree and how it heals us. If you even studied it, it's incredible. But I realized that when I was sat by a tree one day, it was in the book of the Diary of an Accidental Psychic. I realized after doing many healing sessions that day, it was a really tough day, that I was sat by a tree and the phone rang, and I answered it, and it was a friend, and I said, I'm exhausted. She says, well, you need a tree. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, shamans often find a tree that they give their negative energy to. It's an agreement. And I said, I'm sat by a tree that I come to, and actually now you said that, I always come here when I'm exhausted. She says, well, then you found your tree. So a tree, or Mother Earth, is amazing. If you go into the forest, if you go into a park and walk on the grass or by the trees, you will naturally heal yourself and the stress will disappear. And that's the time when you will be connected to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth will give you information as well. So that information, including the healing, is incredible. So you'll feel more balanced and you'll feel better. So these are a few little steps that help you along your journey. And just to finally finish on this note, because it's half an hour now, listen, nothing comes easy. Nothing comes easy. If it comes easy, then everybody would do it. The whole point is that this is a wonderful warrior energy that you are in. And if you are at this point where you're feeling down because you're becoming awoke and awakening, and you're sensing things and feeling things, well, God, well done you. Well done you. That's brilliant. And now you have to step up, and you're going to have to listen more, and you're going to have to figure out what makes you happy. And sometimes it's really challenging because old patterns try to pull us back. Don't let the old patterns pull you back. Become a new person. Become a new spirit. This is not you anymore. This is you here, right here. Listen to this. It always leads you to the right place and always tells you, don't fight, don't bicker, don't get upset, don't feel angry, don't feel jealous, don't feel fear, because everything is going to be okay, and it will be okay, and it gets better thereafter. So once you delete all of those programs that you've been taught by a school, by a system, by your family, once you delete all of that and unlearn all of that and begin again, your life changes dramatically. So feed yourself with great information, feed yourself with positivity, feed yourself with people who have really done the work, and know these are the things that I've done. Take little bits from them, little bit of information, and work on that one thing at a time. Don't push yourself to do too much. All of these things that I share with you today isn't an instant fix. This isn't going to make you feel better straight away, but little things will go, oh yeah, I remember when that crazy guy in a white top and a silly t-shirt said this and said that. Maybe there is some truth in that, and by doing this, you're listening, because that isn't that, this is this. It speaks to you and whispers to you, and then the confirmation or the battle between the heart and mind stops, and then your mind then starts to work in its correct way, which is to help you. not to push you, not to make you feel bad, not to make you exhausted, but it's there to help you. It's help you cross the road, look left and right. Thank you, mind. Thank you for working in the right way. So we use the mind as a tool to work in the right way, but not in the wrong way. But most of humanity work in the mind in the wrong way, and they look for the answers in the mind, and the answers in the mind are never there because your mind is limited. It's a computer. It only knows what you've put in there, and most of what you've put in there isn't for your future. Really isn't. Your future's over there and it looks beautiful, but your mind doesn't know that, but your heart does. So you have to listen to your spirit, which is here, which is where the heart is. That is who you are. That's where the energy comes from. This is why your life force is beautiful. But when you pass into the light, there's no more life force around you from the heart. That's why the heart stops beating. The heart is the light, is the energy, is who you are. So you listen here, and it tells you, it's a whisper, and it always gives you the right information, even though your brain says not. Your brain says don't do that. Your brain will stop you every time. Your brain will stop you from moving forward with your life. It always tells you it could go wrong, it's going to go wrong, don't do it, it's a mistake, don't do it, it's a mistake. And your heart's saying, but I'm telling you, listen to me, stop listening to this. So I repeat myself, the awakening is the biggest battle between the heart and mind. You're going to have to tell your mind to shut up and start listening to your heart. And that's it. I wish you a lovely day today, guys. The draw will be happening very shortly. The girls are in the office scrambling to get everybody's name correct and not make any mistakes. So it should be very shortly. Okay, thank you very much. Love you all. Have a beautiful day. I hope this serves you well.